Let's be honest. You've probably noticed how some people just love to test your boundaries. They interrupt you, make passive-aggressive comments, or act like your time and feelings don't matter to them. Are you supposed to just smile and put up with it all? No, not this time. If you're sick of putting up with people who disrespect you, this video is just for you. Today I'm going to share honest and maybe a little provocative ways to deal with disrespect without losing your temper and maintaining your dignity. Fasten your seatbelts because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make your boundaries clear. But first, give it a like and hit subscribe so you don't lose our channel in the vastness of YouTube. So let's go. 1. Use the silent stare. Let's start with one of my favorite and slightly daring techniques, the silent stare. You're probably thinking, really? Just stare? Trust me. When someone is being openly rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off like a prolonged calm and completely unfazed stare. Why it works? People who disrespect others are usually looking for your reaction. They need you to falter, get confused, or even snap back. This is a way of drawing you into their drama, making you doubt yourself or feel insecure. But if you're just looking at them, no words, no emotion, suddenly the dynamic changes. I realize this may seem a little passive-aggressive, but trust me, there's something deeply disturbing about it. When you don't give the expected response, it's like you're saying, I'm not going to play your game. It's a way of taking back control without making the slightest move. Sometimes that silent stare is the most powerful no you'll ever say. Let me tell you how this technique might work one day. Imagine you're in a meeting and some person keeps interrupting you, as if on purpose, without letting you get a word in edgewise. This is the type of person, I think you've met them, loud, self-righteous, thinking that everyone is there for his wisdom. So you try to get a word in, you're being polite, but he won't stop, he's not going to stop. It's not a good feeling, you have to admit. So, what do? It's simple. You just look at him. You lean back in your chair, cross your arms, and withstand his gaze. Not a word, not the slightest expression on your face. Just stare for 5 seconds without blinking or averting your gaze. 5 seconds, and you see that the tension is building, and everyone around you starts to look at him, too, waiting for his reaction. So what's going on? Congratulations. You've caused him to feel uncomfortable. He gets embarrassed, gets confused, and starts looking anywhere but at you. He won't interrupt you again. Your silent stare has done more than any words could, and the effect will be long-lasting. After this incident, he'll treat you with more respect, as if he's finally realized that you're not someone to be treated like that. Sometimes you have to show people who you are without a single word. Let's dig deeper because it's not just a clever trick. When you use the silent stare, it reminds both them and you that you don't have to adjust to other people's expectations. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone or give an emotional response to those who disrespect you. It's about giving yourself back your space, your peace, and your dignity. Too often when someone is disrespectful, we have the urge to defend ourselves, explain ourselves, or worse, let it slide so we don't make a scene. But a silent stare is not aggression. It's a demonstration that you are confident, calm, and in complete control of your emotions. It's also about responsibility. People who are used to disrespecting others often do it unconsciously because they've never really faced the consequences of their not-so-best behavior. You don't say anything, you don't say, show some respect at last. But in that moment, it's your silent, unperturbed gaze that speaks. It becomes a mirror for them, giving them a chance to look at themselves from the outside and making them reflect on their behavior. In fact, it's rare that anyone wants to see themselves in an unsightly way, which is why this technique works so well. When you choose this technique, you not only put the other person on the spot, but you build your self-esteem. Every time you silently stare at someone and let the silence speak for you, you remind yourself that their words and actions can't sway you. There are many different ways to respond to provocation. One may laugh nervously in response to rude comments or try to explain oneself when someone questions their decisions. But this only drains one's energy and leaves one feeling empty. By learning to just watch people, letting silence speak for you, and not give in, you'll feel more confident and balanced. It's a small act of resistance, a quiet but powerful declaration of self-worth. So when someone dares to violate your boundaries, allows themselves to speak rudely, tries to humiliate you, try a direct silent stare, just look at that person. Let them feel the weight of it. Let them feel uncomfortable. We've all been through it. Someone says something hurtful, and our instinct tells us to retaliate. But what if there was a better way? A silent look can be more powerful than 1,000 words. It changes the dynamic, making the other person feel uncomfortable and reaffirming your power. It's a subtle way of saying, "I see you, but I'm not engaging." When someone doesn't respect your boundaries, remember, your silence is a statement. You are not passive. You are choosing peace. By refusing to engage, you're essentially telling him, your negativity isn't worth my energy. It's not about being rude or cold or indifferent. It's about preserving your peace. By choosing silence, you are reclaiming your power. Remember, you don't have to explain your choice to anyone. Your life belongs to you, and you have the right to live it on your own terms. This is about protecting your energy. It's about setting boundaries. It's about you. When you face negativity, think about this. Your silence is a statement of self-worth. It's a way of saying, I value myself too much to engage in this. By refusing to get dragged into the drama, you're choosing peace over conflict. Moreover, silence can be a catalyst for change. It can force the other person to confront their own behavior. Remember, your peace of mind is priceless. Cherish it. Consider this. How often do you have to explain your decisions? You've probably faced this situation. You've made some decision on your own, and then a bunch of questions come at you like, why did you choose this job? Why did you quit? Why didn't you come to the event? Why did you do that? Why? Why? And with these questions, people literally force you to explain yourself, putting you in the position of a child in front of a parent. People often think you have to justify everything you do. But should you? Here's the truth. Your decisions are your own, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. This may sound controversial, but let's be honest. When someone asks you about your choices, they usually don't want to understand you. They want to judge you. They need to find a weakness, make you doubt yourself, or make you feel better about yourself by belittling your choices to validate their own. You know what? You don't have to play by their rules. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your autonomy and show them that your life is not up for discussion. Let's break down why people feel they need an explanation. When someone questions your decisions, it's often because they're following one of the most common patterns of human behavior: the desire for an explanation. When they encounter actions or decisions that don't fit into their picture of the world, it makes them uncomfortable. Explanation often helps them find justification for what people cannot change, thereby restoring their inner balance. Since they cannot understand your position, due to the fact that their view of the world is very different from yours, they expect an explanation as to why you may be taking risks they are hesitant to take, or you have chosen something out of the ordinary that takes them out of their comfort zone. Asking a person for an explanation can be a form of manipulation. Why? 1. By asking questions, a person tries to regain a sense of control over the situation. And if they can't understand your motives, they feel vulnerable and helpless. 2. Sometimes asking for clarification is not just curiosity, but an attempt to convince you to change your mind. The person may be trying to prove that your choices are wrong or illogical. Your independence or willingness to do things differently may make them uncomfortable, and their request for clarification is a way to bring you back into their familiar reality. But here's the point. Just because they're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're obligated to appease them. Your life isn't a public announcement, and you don't have to justify your choices to anyone. 3. Often when a person asks you to explain yourself, they are projecting their own doubts and fears onto you. For example, if he is afraid of taking risks himself, he may try to talk you out of making a risky decision. For example, you decided to change careers and go from a stable job to something that really inspires you, even though it involves risk. Once people found out about it, it seemed like you announced you were going to fly to the moon. Everyone asked, "Why did you leave a stable job?" Or "How are you going to handle this?" At first, you try to explain, to say that you want something more meaningful, that you have a plan. But soon you realize that no matter how much you explain, it's always not going to be enough. The more you talk, the more doubts people try to put in your head, making you feel like you were wrong, and now you have to justify yourself. That's when you decided to try a new approach. When someone asked, "Why did you leave that job?" you simply replied, "Because I wanted to." No unnecessary details, no explanation, just a short answer. And you know what? It was amazing. The silence afterward was complete, and there was bewilderment in the eyes. People didn't know how to respond because you took away their power to question your decisions. And you know what happened? They stopped questioning. The real beauty of ceasing to explain yourself is that it's liberating. It's you standing in your truth, knowing that your decisions are just enough because you made them. When you stop justifying your actions, you give yourself permission to live authentically without the burden of other people's expectations. You stop wasting your energy on explanations and start putting it into actually living the life you want. There's a powerful lesson here. Your life doesn't need applause. Not every decision you make needs to be analyzed or approved by others. And when you stop explaining yourself, you show everyone that you're confident in your choices and you don't need anyone else's approval. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a truly confident person spelling out every decision they made? Probably never, because people who own their lives don't need external validation. They know that the only validation that matters is their own. A person who lacks confidence can roll out an entire presentation explaining to everyone why you are doing something to convince them of the rightness of their actions and gain approval. But you need to realize that in fact, explaining himself to everyone will only make them doubt his decisions. So adopt the following rule for yourself. If someone asks you about a decision, try to resist the urge to explain yourself. Answer briefly, perhaps in a few sentences. If they start pushing you, you smile and move on. You can limit yourself to saying, "Because I wanted to," or "Because it was right for me," and then let the silence speak for you. See how powerful that simple statement sounds. And you know what? You'll feel stronger, calmer, and more confident in yourself. You'll see your life become easier. The less you explain, the more confident you'll become in your choices, because you'll realize that your decisions don't require someone else's approval. They matter simply because you made them. Another good way, keep your distance. The realities are that sometimes the best way to deal with people who don't respect you is to simply keep them at a distance. This may seem rude and uncultured on your part, but no, such a move doesn't mean you hate people or make a dramatic scene. It's an act of loving yourself, respecting yourself, and taking care of your mental health. Someone who is constantly disrespectful does not deserve to be in your inner circle. Imagine your life as a garden. You carefully care for your plants, finding the perfect conditions for each one. But what if there was a weed among your plants that was taking away nutrients and light from the others? Naturally, you would remove it. The same goes for our interpersonal relationships. Keeping your distance in such a case isn't about being mean or ignoring people. It's your choice in where and how you spend your time and energy. It's not selfishness, it's taking care of yourself. By allowing others to constantly violate your boundaries, you risk exhaustion emotionally and psychologically. By limiting interactions with toxic people, you'll learn to protect your personal space and set clear boundaries for others to respect. When you let go of people who don't appreciate you, you'll free up a huge amount of energy that you can channel into more positive and productive endeavors. And by creating space around you for healthy relationships, you'll attract people into your life who truly appreciate, encourage, and support you. Keeping your distance isn't always easy. Yes, it can be quite difficult to distance yourself from some toxic people. It could be a friend who makes barbs about almost every choice you make, or a relative who genuinely wants to convince you that your decisions are wrong. At first, you may try to ignore disrespectful remarks, be condescending, justify the person, writing off everything on his character and his concern and desire to help. Or maybe you think you are overreacting. But why is it so hard to distance yourself? There could be several reasons. Humans are social creatures, and communication is, for us, one of the most important parts of life. We are afraid of being without communication, even if it's not the most positive. It's the fear of loneliness that speaks to us. And sometimes we get so used to a certain relationship and style of communication that it seems acceptable to us. We are afraid of change and think we have to tolerate everything and always. Think about how you feel after interacting with a particular person. Are you filled with joy and satisfaction, or are you devastated? Were you made to feel inadequate, and now your mind is reeling with the barbed remarks you heard? How do you feel before a meeting with a relative, a friend, a colleague? Is there a thought that you need to prepare for the next joke, criticism, which is more like a blow? If the answer is yes, it's probably best to put some distance between you and that person. Perhaps in time, he'll reconsider his attitude toward you. In the meantime, do this. You don't have to announce your decision loudly. Just start reducing the time you spend with him. Do it less and less often. If you used to see each other every week, now maybe you should see each other no more than once a month. You will feel lighter, freer. It will give you a chance to look at your friendship from the outside and see that it was toxic. You'll be clear on what behaviors are unacceptable to you. You'll learn to say no and stand up for yourself because you are worthy of love and respect. Some may tell you that this approach is selfish and it's not the right thing to do because you've been in a relationship for years. You may not be comfortable with it yourself. Of course, if it is a close person, first try to tell them how you feel. Calmly, confidently, and clearly inform him about what is unacceptable to you, thus marking your boundaries. When speaking, be respectful. Give the person time. He may be in some shock and bewilderment because he has not heard anything like this from you before, and it seemed to him that everything was good and even fun. Let him think about the information that is new to him. Be sure that if he cares about you, he will listen to you and change his behavior. Although it would be foolish to expect cardinal changes right away, it also takes time and his conscious efforts. Either way, you don't have to be a punching bag emotionally. Sometimes the best way to show someone that you're fed up with it all and have had enough is to just back off. Show that your well-being is important to you. You don't just care about yourself, you respect yourself. Distance will allow you to create space for growth. Do you feel that the less time you spend around those who belittle you, the less they can influence your thoughts, mood, and life? Maybe you blame yourself a lot for distancing yourself from people, even if they treat you badly. You think, what if they think I don't care? Or maybe I'm exaggerating. But over time, you'll realize that distancing yourself isn't just removing negativity. You'll give yourself the freedom to grow. When you allow yourself to keep your distance from those who disrespect you, you'll feel a new freedom. You'll have more energy, more peace, and it will become clearer who you want in your life. So here's my challenge to you. Think about those people in your life who constantly disrespect you, who make you feel small or depleted. Ask yourself, do they really deserve so much of your time and attention? Let's talk about a classic that never goes out of style. Hold your head high. This may seem like trite advice, but trust me, it's real gold when you're dealing with people who don't respect you. Here's the bottom line. When someone disrespects you, he expects to make you feel worthless. He expects his words and actions to make you doubt yourself. He wants you to lower your gaze and shrink back. But when you stand up straight with your shoulders open and your head held high, you declare without words, I know who I am, and nothing you say or do will make me less valuable. Here's the kicker. Confidence makes people uncomfortable, especially those who are used to disrespecting others. Why? Because they hope that their words or actions can somehow influence you, control you. When you refuse to let their disrespect affect you, when you just stand up straight and hold your head high, you show them that they have no power to break you. You are above their attacks. You are invulnerable. And people like that don't know what to do about it. Their confidence starts to waver, but yours remains unshaken. I remember being in a situation with a man who was always making caustic remarks when we were dating. You probably know people like that, always with a smirk, always with jokes that are more like attacks. I used to try to ignore it, but it still ticked me off. I was starting to dread meeting him, like I needed to defend myself every time. But one day I decided, that's it, I'm not going to feel small anymore. I came in with my head held high and shoulders back. And every time he made his next remark, I just looked him in the eye, smiled, and carried on as if nothing had happened. And you know what happened? He started backing off. He sensed that his words weren't getting through to me, that I was too high for this empty whining. And all of a sudden his power was gone. There's something magical about holding your head high. It's like an invisible shield that says, I'm out of reach. Here's where it gets interesting. People who don't respect you often begin to hate your confidence. It disrupts their picture of the world. They want to believe that they're above you, that they can control something about you. And when you walk around with confidence, it disrupts their perception. It's almost like an insult to them. Society doesn't always know what to do with people who don't apologize for their confidence, especially when they refuse to let other people's negative views define them. And yes, that can make you a target. But here's the thing. Holding your head high isn't about them. It's about you. It's living as if you fully recognize your worth, as if you have nothing to prove. It can be a radical act of self-respect. When you hold your head high, you are declaring, I am valuable. I deserve respect. I am good enough, regardless of what others think or say. Here's a profound message. Self-esteem is not something you earn from others. It's what you broadcast about yourself. You go through life as if you already have everything you need inside, because you really do. Holding your head high is a constant reminder that you are the protagonist of your story, and no one's opinion can make you feel less than. And here's the beauty of it. The more you practice this, the less impact other people's disrespect has. You'll be too busy living your life, too confident in yourself, to worry about others' attempts to belittle you. I used to have a hard time. I was the kind of person who slouched, avoided eye contact, tried to minimize myself when someone was critical or dismissive. I wanted like an ostrich to stick my head in the sand. It seemed safer that way, that I could somehow disappear. But over time, I noticed that every time I held my head high, every time I refused to let someone else's negativity penetrate my soul, I grew stronger. It was like a constant reminder to myself that I didn't need someone else's approval to feel my worth. I could just stand up straight and be proud of who I am. Holding your head high isn't just a physical pose. It's also a mental posture. Walk into every room as if you were at home there. Don't minimize yourself to fit into someone's idea of how you should be. If someone says something snide, let it go. They're not seeing the real you. They're projecting their own insecurities. So why should you take it seriously? Here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel disrespected, whether it's a petty tease or a direct insult, don't react. Just take a deep breath, square your shoulders, and hold your head high. Look the person in the eye as if to say, "I see you, but I'm beyond that." You'll feel a surge of confidence and the calm that comes when you realize that their words have no power over you. Holding your head high is not just good posture. It's a powerful silent statement of your self-worth. It's saying, "I know who I am. I value myself, and nothing will change that." Because, after all, respect starts with you. The more you respect yourself, the less room there is for other people's disrespect. You live your life, so protect your world. Set reasonable boundaries and a standard for how you will be treated. By focusing on self-respect, you'll attract people into your life who see your value, inspire you, help you grow as a person, and who are just nice to talk to and cozy to spend time with. Thank you so much for being with us. If you learned something useful or want to share your experience, please share it in the comments and give us a like. Click subscribe so you don't miss our new videos and get more content on how to gain confidence, improve your relationships, and live a more fulfilling life. Take care of yourself. See you in the next video.